With over 20 years on the market, Call of Duty has put out a ton of multiplayer maps. I don't even know how many. It has to be over 500, right? Some are good, some are not so good, but every year you can count on at least another 2 to 3 dozen maps being added to Call of Duty's master library. And today, we're going to revive the old question. What is the best map in COD history? What is up, everybody? Chaos here. We're bringing back a top 20. We're going to do an updated 2022 list of the 20 best maps ever put in Call of Duty, and yes, we are going to include DLC, so launch and DLC are both fair game. So give me your top 20 in the comments if you're feeling froggy enough. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and let's start off at number 20. Hard Hat. Modern Warfare 3. If I'm putting Hard Hat at number 20, you know this list is going to be pretty insane. Now, a lot of maps in Modern Warfare 3 were written off by the community as being too big or not too good as the previous games. Hard Hat, it was the exception. Set in the middle of a giant construction site, you could use various bits of scaffolding and half-built skyscrapers as covers. You ran around and tried to jump on the other team. There was a ton of open sight lines, but not so much that the gameplay ever got slow or predictable. The battles for middle control were insane, and while the Modern Warfare 2019 remake kind of ruined it, the classic Modern Warfare 3 version it's perfect. It's not perfect, but it's perfect. At number 19, Hackney Yard Modern Warfare. I've done my fair share of Modern Warfare bashing on this channel, so don't expect to hear much about it in this video, but if there's one good thing that deserves praise, I think it's Hackney Yard. You may have expected to see Shoot House on this list, but I honestly think Hackney was Leeds better, mainly because there weren't people camping the center lane 24/7. Hackney was easily my favorite launch map in the game, and it honestly feels like something right out of the original Black Ops, which I love. 3 distinct lanes, plenty of indoor and outdoor areas, and it was also the one Modern Warfare map that I actually felt complemented all playstyles. Now, I had a lot of problems with the maps on launch day, but Hackney Yard was a bright spot. I mean, it was. I genuinely think it's one of the better maps. At number 18, Grind from Black Ops 2. I don't usually put DLC maps on lists like this, but I mean, I get it. Not everybody got to experience them, but Grind? Come on. It's one of the most beloved DLC maps in COD history. Set in a skate park in Venice, California, it was a medium-sized map, tight corridors, intense fight pits, bright colors. It made visibility some of the best in COD history. It was a perfect example of awesome theming in COD multiplayer, and I really wish we saw more of that. Not only was it a great map, but it also had a really unique setting that you really wouldn't get in any other COD maps or FPS games for that matter. Why can't we get more fun settings for COD multiplayer maps? Why does everything have to take place in a factory or a deserted town or a warehouse? Bring back COD fun map settings. Yeah, that's what I mean. At number 17, Backlot COD 4. I know I just bashed boring settings, but Backlot slaps, and you know it, I know it, we all know it. Set in the middle of a war-torn town, featured a lot of flanking routes, lots of verticality. It's one of the only COD maps, I think, where the middle of the map was actually the least dangerous. You could sit in the dead center of the map without much resistance, but if you tried to run around the buildings, you were going to get picked off. COD 4 was all about the Modern Warfare aesthetic, and Backlot was a prime example of how to do that right. The map felt organic, it felt realistic, but it wasn't so disorganized that it stopped being fun or balanced. Now, I'm pretty annoyed at the Modern Warfare 2019 remake of Backlot being so different, it just kind of ruined the whole appeal. COD 4's, it was really good. At number 16, Favela Modern Warfare 2. If you're going to set a COD map in the middle of a city, this is how you do it. Don't just let us run around the alleys and buildings. Let us get on top of the buildings, on top of the roofs. Favela was a totally unique map at the time, back in 2009, and to this day, it has an unmatched level of verticality for a 6v6 map. This was one of the most organic feeling maps ever put in a Call of Duty game, and the sheer amount of options you had for movement and positioning were insane. They were insane for a late 2000s arcade shooter. It's actually supposed to appear in the original Modern Warfare, but it was cut due to time constraints, and thank goodness they kept it in for the sequel. It may sound dramatic, but I don't think there will ever be another COD map like Favela. I don't. At number 15, Vacant COD 4. I think this is one of the most underappreciated Infinity War maps ever made. It's that map I always loved. I wish it would come back more often. It took place in an abandoned one-story compound in the surrounding field. There was lots of ways you could play it. If you stuck to the outdoor sections, you could snipe, you could use rifles, but if you ran inside that main building, it got gnarly very rapidly. I've said once or twice, Vacant with a haunted house overlay would be really fun. All the weird twists and turns in the hallways, it would really force you to learn where everything is. Sitting in a corner here was actually a pretty bad strategy because there was always another way to get around your enemies or avoid them completely. I liked Vacant. You slept on it, you know you did. At number 14, Dome in Modern Warfare 3, probably the most remembered map from that game. It was the go-to place. Crazy high kill matches, 1v1s. It was small, yes, but it still had enough set pieces and flanking routes to keep things interesting and three-dimensional. Just about every gun was viable, and if you played Modern Warfare 3 to any capacity, you probably had some really good memories here. I did. I mean, it was remade a number of times, we know that. In Ghost, it was Unearthed, and Infinite Warfare, it was Genesis, and Vanguard, it was Radar, but the classic Dome is the best. And when you clicked on a video of the best COD maps, you probably expected that one to be on this list. I did not let you down. At number 13, Throwback from Infinite Warfare. Now, IW may have been widely hated by the COD community due to the advanced movement, the overall burnout at the time, but I think that often leads to people writing off every aspect of the game, and that's not fair. The map design in Infinite Warfare wasn't bad. Throwback was a standout. Even though I didn't like the game as a whole, I always had fun on this map, and I don't think I'm alone. The art style was cool. It replicated the 1950s America, and the layout was big enough for you to get your bearings together after spawning, but small enough that you were never looking too long for a fight. I enjoyed this map, and even if you hated Infinite Warfare, you need to admit with me that Throwback was a bright spot. At number 12, Nuketown 2025 Black Ops 2. I'm probably going to get some heat for putting it down there. I don't know, maybe not. The community's always been pretty divided on Nuketown. It's not really a new thing. Modern COD players seem to be super split on it, but even back in 2010 when the map debuted in the original Black Ops, there were people who hated it. They didn't like how fast it played, but you know what? I think it's still one of the best maps in COD history. It's iconic. I know it's played out, and people are tired of it returning every year, but it was genius. The design was perfect. The layout was great. I think the Black Ops 2 version is the best we've ever gotten. It improved the spawn protection, improved the visibility. So while I don't think Nuketown is quite a top 10 COD map anymore, I think it's worthy of number 12 just for the reputation, even though it's overplayed, I know. At number 11, High-Rise Modern Warfare 2, another iconic map. Debuted in the original Modern Warfare 2, gave birth to some of the most legendary trick shot clips you've ever seen. Remember all the crazy throwing knife clips? Remember the crazy no-scopes off the side of the map? Remember all the rage clips from people who died one off their nuke? High-Rise was an awesome map. It really proved that classic IW knew exactly what they were doing with their design. The map had it all. Crazy long sight lines, sneaky hiding spots, hidden flanking routes, and even some completely hidden ways to get on top of the map. Believe me, when the community figured out you could actually get on the top of High-Rise back in 2019, it was one of the most talked about things in gaming. The only downside was it was really easy to spawn trap here, and that's why it's at number 11. But other than that, it's a piece of FPS history, and it absolutely had to be here. Now we get to the top 10. This is not easy to do with like 500 maps out there. Summit Black Ops 1. Mid-size map, instant fan favorite. It's returned a number of times. It's a snowy base, narrow lanes, rather long map, but it helped keep the fighting engaging without being overwhelming. Most of the fighting took place in the center lane around the main compound, but the side lanes, they were helpful. They were good for flanking, setting up clear battle lines with the enemy team. It was fantastic. It ended up returning in a number of COD games, but Treyarch's, the first one, was the best. At number 9, Courtyard in World at War. Sometimes I feel like a crazy person when I talk about this map because to me, it was one of the best maps in COD history, but whenever I see discussions on Twitter or YouTube about COD Legacy maps, nobody ever talks about it. I mean, was I just way more into the map than everybody else? Maybe. Mid-size map, World at War, featured a lot of interesting verticality in the sense that a good chunk of the map took place in trench-like pathways that you could either hide in or run around on top of. I thought it created a really cool piece of strategy because you could run around the trenches, remain hidden, but you could progress through the map slowly, or you could run on top of the trenches to cut people off, but also run the risk of getting sniped. Maybe I'm crazy, but I thought Courtyard was good. While it was remade as Dig in Black Ops 2, I liked it too. The original holds a special place in my heart. At number 8, Genesis Infinite Warfare. Okay, let the hate flow through you. I'm okay with it. I put an Infinite Warfare map in the top 10. Like I said before, Infinite Warfare's map design was underrated. But the core gameplay with Genesis, come on. Now, it was an improved version of Modern Warfare 3's Dome. Featured a very similar layout, but a few noticeable changes. A couple smaller lanes combined into a single lane, while some of the main fighting areas, well, they were made a tad bigger to accommodate the advanced movement, but I think it worked. It was by far the most well-received map in Infinite Warfare, and I honestly think it was a top 10. Heck, I'd even say that it was the best advanced movement map in COD history. I know, hang on. It's only at number 8. We're about to get into some super hard hitters, and it didn't quite make it, but it was good. At number 7, Crash, COD 4. One of the standouts from the OG COD. Crash was the perfect example of an Infinity War map. Compared to Treyarch, IW has always been a bit more experimental. They're not afraid to stray away from 3-lane design, and while it didn't always pay off, Crash is one of the best examples of IW's design philosophy done right. Set in the middle of a deserted city with a downed military chopper in the dead center, both teams battle for control, handful of buildings, vantage points, flanking routes, verticality. Controlling one building meant you had to give up control of another, and it created this everlasting tug of war between the teams. You really had to work for your kill streaks here, and that made it pretty satisfying. COD 4 Crash is a near perfect map. I'm still a little salty over how much worse the 2019 remake was, but it is what it is. COD 4's version, incredible. At number 6, Raid in Black Ops 2. It's one of the most remade Treyarch maps of all time. It debuted in BO2, returned in BO3, Black Ops Cold War, Blackout, COD Online, COD Mobile. I probably missed one. But you know what's interesting? Despite being remade almost as many times as Nuketown, nobody complains about Raid coming back. Have you noticed that? I guess that's what happens when you make a genuinely good COD map. Raid is one of the best aggressive maps ever put in a first-person shooter. Not a lot of verticality, but lots of routes, lots of viable playstyles, and a true test of how well you know fundamentals of this game. If you're good at COD, you're going to do well on Raid. If you're bad at COD, this map will put you through the ringer until you get better, which is how it should be. Raid absolutely slaps, and unlike a lot of popular COD maps, I'm completely ready for this one to be remade. Give me Raid in every COD game. And now we reach the top 5. Slums Black Ops 2. It was always one of those maps that got overshadowed because of the game. Despite being a god tier map, it's forgotten because it was competing with bangers like Hijacked, Raid, Standoff, Nuketown. But you know what? I think Slums may have actually been a top 3 map in Black Ops 2. The map was divided into 3 sections, 2 spawn areas, the fight club that was a center courtyard where the B flag was on Dom. Now, true players ran straight to the center. More classy individuals would try to snipe their way through or maybe attempt to stealth it up. Slums was a very balanced map. You had to be smart about what you were doing. Perhaps people didn't know how smart you had to be in order to play well, or maybe most Black Ops 2 players just preferred the more aggressive maps, but I love Slums. I think it's a top 5 COD map. Prove me wrong in the comments if you want to. At number 4, Scrapyard Modern Warfare 2. Let me make this clear. I am not referring to the Scrapyard remake that appeared in Modern Warfare 2019 as DLC. Instead, I'm referring to the classic Scrapyard that appeared in the original Modern Warfare 2 that was the video definition of a chef's kiss. Set in an airplane graveyard, you would run around the various warehouses, broken down airliners, getting creative with your flanks, pinpoint people. Unlike the other one, classic, spawns were good. There wasn't much of a camping problem. It allowed you to enjoy its aggressive potential to its fullest. Scrapyard was a fantastic map with a lot of little secrets, but it was a map you really had to master the flow in order to perform well, and that's kind of what made it special. It was like Slums in the sense that I make a lot of people overlook it because it wasn't the most popular map in the game, but when you look at it objectively, yeah. At number 3, this is going to be a left field pick, but hear me out. CeeLo and World at War. I know, I may have actually said in videos before that I wasn't the biggest fan of this map because of its size, but I really tried to dig deep here. Despite how big and how frustrating this map could be, it was also one of the most unique, special, and purely fun maps ever put in a COD game. CeeLo was one of the biggest 6v6 maps in COD history, and it's remembered for actually having drivable tanks in the game. The battle took place on a massive piece of land, few houses, bunch of tall grass, train track dead center of the map that both teams were constantly fighting for control over. I've said before, the sheer size of the map could kill the flow, but I think this may have actually had some unintentional revisionist history on my part. CeeLo gave me some of my best memories on World at War, and playing the game in 2022 through Plutonium, it's there. I mean, CeeLo is how to do a big COD map the correct way, and while I don't know how well it would work in a modern COD game, it's there. It is. Dislike the video if you want, but yes, I just put CeeLo at number 3 out of every COD map in history. I know, wild times. At number 2, Firing Range Black Ops 1. I always get a bit of heat for suggesting this map was the best in the original Black Ops, but here I am again. It's one of the most perfect Call of Duty maps ever created, and honestly don't have a problem with it being remade every few years. Small map, kinda. Still has a lot of variety, verticality, sightlines, very distinct sections. Depends on how you want to play the game. You probably stick to certain sections more than others. If you want to snipe, you'll hang out in the center. If you want to play aggressive, you'll stay near the 2 main buildings in the middle. If you want to play stealthy, you'll run laps around the outskirts and pick people off as they rotate. It's perfect. Perfectly balanced. I'm comfortable putting it at number 2 today. And at number 1, the best COD map ever created, Terminal Modern Warfare 2, the single greatest map. Now, based upon the controversial mission from Modern Warfare 2's campaign, you know, busted up Russian airport. You're fighting from security line all the way to the airfield. You could even run around on top of the planes. Terminal is not only a visually iconic map, it played like a dream. Every single playstyle was viable, and that's what made it special. You could rush with SMGs, sit back with snipers, play stealthy with suppressors. It was all 100% doable on Terminal, and once people started calling in air support, things got bonkers. Both teams tried to fight for control of the indoor sections. Terminal is one of those maps that will never, ever, ever, ever get old to me, no matter how many times I play it in a row. This actually isn't the first time I've called Terminal the best map in COD history, but unlike a lot of my COD-related opinions, I don't think this one's going to change. Terminal is amazing. And there you have it, my friends. Now, I know there are going to be plenty of maps that did not make this list that you felt were worthy of top 20, so you can let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon.